What's up guys, I'm the Skyward Soldier and welcome back to Nostalgia Glasses. Today is the last episode of the Crash Bandicoot Triple Play. And today we're checking out Crash Bandicoot Warped, the third and final installment in the Crash trilogy on the PlayStation 1. How does it stack up to the original two? Well, I guess we're gonna have to dive into the box of Wampa Fruits one last time to find out.
Crash Bandicoot Warped.
The game starts off right after the events of Crash 2, and not the bad ending either like I got. Instead, it takes place immediately after Dr. Nitrous Brio uses the 42 gems you collected and destroys Cortex's space station. As it comes crashing to Earth, it lands on an ancient monument and releases the evil entity known as Uka Uka. I really love how these games show that they're all connected. They really show a continuous story and it just feels right. Most games don't really do that. Back on Insanity Island, an evil laughter is heard through the air. And Aku Aku appears distraught and brings everyone inside and warns them of the evil being known as Uka Uka.
Uka is free. No, it cannot be.
Uka Uka is seen with Dr. Neocortex, who he apparently saved from floating in deep space, and as it turns out, all of Cortex's plans had Uka Uka behind them the whole time. Uka Uka is angry that Cortex has failed him twice already, and Cortex pleads with him saying it's all Crash Bandicoot's fault. But Uka Uka is tired of the constant failures. He's feeling generous and spares Cortex's life. Uka Uka introduces Cortex to Dr. Entropy, an apparent master of time and the creator of the Time Twister that the three are standing on. With the Time Twister, the villains hatch a plan to gather the power crystals in their original places in time. Wait a minute. But if they can go back in time, couldn't they just go back in time and kill Crash Bandicoot? End it before it even begins? Sometimes I don't really understand, villains don't really make much sense, but video game logic. Back on Insanity Island, Aku Aku tells Crash and Coco a story about how eons ago he locked away his evil twin brother Uka Uka so the world wouldn't be cursed and have to deal with his evil. And now he's been unleashed on the world yet again. Aku Aku takes Crash and Coco to the Time Twister and the journey finally begins. Crash Bandicoot Warped starts off on the Time Twister, and much like the last game, is broken down into 5 worlds with 5 different themed levels. As with Crash 2, you need to collect the power crystal in each world, 25 of them in all, and like the past 2 games, each world has 1 or 2 clear or colored gems. The clear gems you get when you get all the boxes in a world, and the colored gems you need to find out in the worlds. They're very difficult to find, unless you know exactly where you're looking. Now, as I said in the first episode, I'm no completionist, so unfortunately I did not get 100% of everything in these games. I did not and could not 100% them. It's pretty depressing. And as much as I tried to, I really just couldn't. I only happened to get a few gems though by happenstance, and they were the clear ones. Yeah. Crash 3 features brand new level themes, all of which are some of my favorites of all the series. You have Medieval, Underwater, Great Wall of China, Prehistoric, and more. All of them are great, and each of the levels are fantastically built. A huge change in Crash 3 is the ability to play as both Crash and his sister Coco. You can only play as Coco in select levels, but when you do, they're some of the best levels in the game. In fact, most of her levels I absolutely love to play. When you control Coco, you mainly control a vehicle or an animal. Her main levels are the ones on the Great Wall of China and the jet ski levels, along with the Red Baron level, which I really liked. Each level differs from one another yet again, while still maintaining the whole theme thing they got going on. When I first saw this, I kinda thought it was a lame way to keep the development costs down, but I guess in the end it kinda works out. They can still reuse the same assets of the levels, just change them up to make them more difficult, and that's okay. The one type of level I thought I'd have a hard time with were the water levels. Yes, Crash Bandicoot 2 has underwater levels. I was worried seeing as how the space levels in Crash 2 handled so poorly, but the underwater levels feel more fluid, no pun intended, and responsive. They're actually kind of fun. As per the usual, after going through all 5 levels in the warp rooms, you end up at the boss. The main bosses are Tiny Tiger, a returning boss from Crash 2, Dingo Dial, a crocodile dingo hybrid, Entropy, the creator of the Time Twister, and an obvious lover of puns.
Now you're on my time, you little skunk.
Engine, yet another returning boss and one of Cortex's underlings, and easily one of my favorite boss fights, and finally Dr. Neocortex and Uka Uka. Each boss fight is again unique and fantastically well made. It's amazing how each boss fight keeps you on your toes with different strategies and weaknesses. Each boss is fought by Crash, minus Engine, who is fought by Coco and takes place in space. It has its place as my favorite boss fight because it's almost like Star Fox in a way. Like with most Star Fox bosses, you have to shoot certain parts of the boss to damage them, and that's exactly what Dr. Engine was like, and it just felt right. It felt awesome. And honestly, I wish I could have more of that. After defeating each boss, you gain a power-up. This was another new addition to Crash 3. Each power-up will give you a different ability, whether it's a double jump, running faster, or even a bazooka that fires Wampa fruits. Huh. Does that remind anyone of anything?
He's the leader of the bunch. You know him well. He's finally back to kick some tail. His coconut gun can fire in spurts.
Oh, that's right, Mario 64! He had a bazooka in that one, right? No? Oh. I'll give up then. The final and easily one of the worst additions to the game, in my opinion that is, are the time trials. Each level has 3 different relics you can collect, with one of them requiring you to beat the developer's set times. The relics don't really have a purpose, other than bringing your game to 105%. Finally, you've collected all the gems and taken down all the bosses, and it's time to take on Cortex and Uka Uka. It's a simple boss fight and I'm kinda bummed about that. Each boss fight leading up to it had at least some sort of challenge. The last boss fight with Cortex just had you running around in circles until you finally knock him into the hole in the floor. If you get the bad ending like me, the villains get away, saying they're still the colored gems together. However, if you beat the game after collecting everything, the Time Twister implodes, since Entropy was beaten, taking Cortex, Entropy, and Uka Uka with it. Crash and the others escape and head home just in time for the snow season. During the end credits, you can see the 3 villains seem to be trapped in some sort of time prison, with Entropy and Cortex fighting over Uka Uka's possessions. I never really found Crash 3 all that difficult. Like with the other games, there are certain points where I got a bit frustrated, yeah, but it was just like when I played Cortex Strikes Back. I enjoyed it. I didn't get angry. I didn't feel like I just wanted to give up and quit playing like I did during Crash 1. It has a nice mixture of both difficulty, but fun. And that's what makes Crash 2 and 3 both so great. And like with Crash 1 and 2, what can I say that hasn't already been said? From a first-time player's perspective, it's a really great game. The level design is fantastic. And for my first time playing the series, I actually really enjoyed it. I grew up a Nintendo nerd, like I mentioned I think in the first episode. And I never really got to experience the PlayStation games in their heyday. Only time I really ever got to play the PlayStation was when I went to my aunt's house, and even then she never had Crash Bandicoot. Only time I got to play Crash Bandicoot was on the demo disc, and that was one of the few times I've ever played it as a kid. I mostly played Spyro as a kid when I went over to her house because she had all the Spyro games. And Frogger. Frogger was another good one. But, so the question here still stands, are the nostalgia glasses on or off for Crash Bandicoot Warped? They're off. They're absolutely off. Great game. It's a great game. 10 out of 10. It's awesome. There's so much really to do. It has a lot more to collect, a lot more to do. But the controls are still great. Like, the controls just feel perfect in this game. And they really improved upon it in 2 and 3, and I just have to give it high praise. Well guys, that's it for the Crash Bandicoot Triple Play here on Nostalgia Glasses. I had a really great time playing through these games, and they really don't take that long at all. I played through them both in just... I played through all 3 of them in just 2 days. It was honestly really, really awesome. Next week, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy comes out on the PlayStation 4. Now, this is not an ad. I promise you, this is far from an ad. I don't even have the game yet, but I definitely say if you guys have never played the Crash series, go ahead and pick that one up. If you have a PlayStation 4, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really looking forward to playing the series in full HD and making even more memories by playing it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I've been the Skyward Soldier. I'm gonna go take a nap, because I've been working really hard on this. And I guess we'll see you guys in the next episode. It probably won't be for a few months. I'm gonna go ahead and take a little break here. Kinda take my time, I should say, with this one, with the next one. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Hey, who turned out the lights? Oh dear.